All right. Well, thank you guys for joining me today. I'm super excited to make Semmelknoedel, which is a sort of a German dumpling type thing that we eat at home. We usually eat it around Christmas time with Christmas dinner and stuff. So it's like whenever we have a big roast meal, that's what we eat it with. And there are two different types of knödel that you can make. You can make the Semmelknoedel, which we're making tonight, and you make that with bread. And the other type of knödel is made with potatoes. So it's like a potato dumpling, but we're not making that tonight. All right, so let's get started. We need some bacon, and I already fried mine up last night in the oven, but you can also just fry it up now in the frying pan. That's totally fine. It just goes a little faster if it's already a little bit crispy. And then you need an onion. I really like the red onions because of flavor, but you can also do white onion, yellow onion, whatever floats your boat. So the first thing you want to do is dice the onion. So I'm going to do that now. Or we can chat whilst we do that. How are everyone's classes going and grad school work?
Well, my research is coming along nicely. I'm actually having a small surgical procedure tomorrow on my foot again. So that's going to put a little bit of a pause on my work, but I'm at a good place to stop. So it'll be okay for the few days that I have to be off, and then I'll be back next week. So it's coming along nicely.
Is that the same foot that you had before?
It is the same foot, yes. So when they did the original surgery, they ended up having to put a staple in to hold the two bones together because there wasn't much left of the toe joint. And it turns out that that staple that they put in there has now started to cause a lot of inflammation in the toe. And so it's causing some issues. So we have to take it out. We can't stay in.
I hope that will make it better.
Yeah. I hope so too. I hope that's the only issue. It's really what I'm hoping. So, and other than that, the grad school stuff is going as well as can be expected. I mean, I'm kind of excited because the material science stuff that I was working on, we've kind of wrapped some of that up and submitted the manuscript for that. And then
that's exciting.
Yeah, well, it'll be about a month before we hear anything back from the journal. And then now I'm just working on evolving stuff, just make it a change.
Just evolving things in the lab.
That's right. Evolving all the best things, just the phages, just the viruses. How about you? How's everything going with your stuff, Sabrina?
Yeah, making progress slowly but surely. So that's fun.
Well, good.
Working out a lot of things that weren't working in the lab this week. So that's good stuff. Like found some contamination that I had in one of my primers and stuff. So okay. So I've diced my onions. Finally.
Okay.
Here. And you want to put that in the frying pan. And the original recipe asks for goose fat. Now that's a little bit hard to come by, and I think that's just partially because of it's got really nice flavor, or you can use lard or something. What I usually do is just use a little bit of that bacon grease, the bacon.
That sounds delicious.
Yes. I never said that tonight was going to be a healthy meal. It's a very tasty meal. So got a little bit of that in there. And then we just need to, I don't know how you say that in English, when you just kind of fry onions a little bit so they go see-through a little bit. What do you call that?
Saute them?
Yeah, that's what we're looking for.
Okay.
And then you also want to take your bacon, and the original recipe calls for like 80 grams. So that's like 3-4 slices of bacon. And you don't have to put the bacon in, of course. So if you want to make a vegetarian version, you can just leave that out. And the bacon you also want to cut into sort of thin stripes, I guess. I just do it like this kind of size. Oh, Bernadette is here.
Hi.
Hello. How are you doing?
I'm good. Just taking a walk. Sorry, I'm walking by someone mowing their lawn.
Right. So to catch you up, we diced the onion into little cubes, and now we're just sauteing the onion, so just frying it up a little bit. And I'm just cutting up the bacon that I already put in the oven yesterday. And the other thing you want to do once this is on is you probably want to get a big pot with water that we are going to eventually cook the whole thing in. So I have the big pot. I don't know why you can't see it. I'll move my computer. Got a big pot here with water. So we probably want to turn that on so that the water starts warming up whilst our bacon and onion is sort of frying a little bit over there.
Okay.
And the water, it doesn't need any salt or anything. We'll just bring that to a boil. Okay. So whilst this is heating up, don't want it to burn. Whilst this is heating up, we're now cutting our bread into little cubes. So we want about 5 pieces of bread. And this recipe also scales up really nicely if you want to make bigger portion sizes. It works really well.
Okay.
But I just cut the bread all together in a stack and just kind of cube that. So you don't need it too small. Just sort of bigger cubes, because we're going to mix it with egg and milk, so it's going to go all smushy anyway. And I've used all kinds of bread. You can use just white toast, but I prefer the one with a grain in it.
So just a wheat toast, Sabrina, or do you recommend like a multi-grain seeded bread or anything like that?
Well, I just go with whatever I can find in the store, to be honest. But I have the 12 grain whole grain from Aldi.
Okay.
So that's what I'm going with. You probably don't want any whole seeds in it, really.
Okay.
If that answers your question.
Yeah, it does.
Okay. So once the bread is cut up, don't forget about the onions on the side here. I'm going to turn them down a little bit. once the bread is cut up, we're going to put that in a mixing bowl. And then we want to measure out the milk and warm the milk up a little bit. It doesn't need to be boiling hot, just a little bit warm. I think it just kind of facilitates the sort of when you mix it in with the bread. And we
Okay.
100 milliliters of milk. And I think Kim translated that into something else, but I forgot what it is in American measures.
Well, 240 milliliters is 1 cup. So,
Nearly half a cup.
okay.
So almost. Okay, so I would probably just put it in the microwave for like 10 or 20 seconds just to warm it up a little bit. Okay. And then we're going to mix the milk in. And then we also want to mix in the eggs. So we need 2 eggs. Ta-da!
Now, were these eggs sitting out? Like, are they room temperature or are they straight from the refrigerator?
I had them sitting out a little bit, but the recipe doesn't specify whether that makes a difference. But I guess it won't hurt to have them at room temperature, seeing as we warm up the milk.
Okay.
All righty. I'm just gonna make sure that this doesn't burn. Okay, so now I usually like to mix it with a fork because that kind of breaks up the egg a little bit more rather than just a spoon, but that's just personal preference. And we're just really mixing this stuff up because what we want to do next is leave it to sit for about 10 minutes. But before we do that, we add the other seasoning. So we want to add the dried parsley and the dried marjoram and some salt. So a little bit, just a dash of salt. I just do this by ear, to be honest. The parsley actually says that it's supposed to be 1 tablespoon. And then marjoram is kind of based on how much you want. So I usually just add a good load, you know. I think that's fine. And then we just mix that in again. And then that needs to sit for 10 minutes.
Okay. Now, when you let it set, Sabrina, do you just let it sit out at room temperature? Do you stick it in the fridge? Okay.
Just out at room temperature, really.
Okay.
So, yeah, and then by the time we've mixed everything in, it's kind of sunk together like this. So yeah. And I think that always, like, doing it this way around works out perfectly, because once this has fried a little bit, so I think this is good now, just having them a little bit glassy looking. Of course, this step is going to take a little bit longer if you haven't pre-fried your bacon. But I think that's fine now, because what we want to do is let this sit and cool down before we add it to the mixture. So I'm going to set the timer for 10 minutes. And that's all that we needed the chopping board for, really. Sarah joined.
Hello.
How are you doing, Sarah?
I'm good. Sorry I'm late. I was reading my poetry for an event for the Aura Literary Arts magazine. But I'm excited to catch the tail end of your fabulous German cooking.
We're getting there. So we're frying up the bacon with the onion. Bacon is optional.
Oh, they're just at the frying part. Yeah, she's not almost done. This is good.
Yeah, we haven't done the exciting part yet. Making the little, like, I don't know what to call it. You'll see. And we've mixed the toast with the egg and the milk and some salt and some dried parsley and marjoram. And that now needs to sit for like 10 minutes.
Well, we have the ingredient list, Joe.
So do any of you think you're gonna try this?
I want to try it, minus the bacon. It kind of reminds me of like savory French toast, kind of, sort of.
Oh,
with the milk and the eggs and the bread.
That is true. Yeah. And yeah, it's so easy. You can just leave out the bacon if you don't want the meat in it. It's just as tasty. I don't know who was here earlier, but I said that at home we have this as a side dish with like roast or something. Because I guess the difference is that we don't add any vanilla or any like sweet taste to it. And then what I like to do with leftovers is cut them up in like smaller pieces and then fry them up in the frying pan with some vegetables, and that's really tasty too. And then what we can get ready is our foil. So we need a piece of aluminum foil. Probably about this size. And then we want an equal size piece of plastic wrap. Now, my sustainability heart bleeds when I do this, but it's really tasty. So, you know, pros and cons. But yeah, we want an equally sized, because what we're going to do in a minute is roll a little like sausage with this, and then it needs to boil in water. But the reason we are putting it in the foil is because we don't want any water to actually get to the mixture. So that's the reason why. Okay, so yeah, you just lay one on top of each other, and then we're ready to go once we've mixed everything together. I am now going to pull, so this water that we started to put on boil, I think I'm going to put on the bigger thing now that it's available. And we have 6 more minutes to wait for the mixture to sit.
And we can talk about our days. How's your day going, Sabrina? Maybe I missed that part already.
It's going really well because I'm cooking tasty German food.
You look very happy.
Yeah, I love it. I was contemplating between this or showing how to make Spätzle. Pasta, which is also super tasty.
What is schnitzel? Did you say schnitzel?
Oh no, I said Spätzle. Schnitzel is another German dish. Schnitzel is the breaded pork that you flatten out and then you bread it. Spätzle, it's German pasta. It's S-P-A with a dots, T-Z-E-L. And it's like the pasta dough, it's more fluid than like Italian pasta. And then you put it through like a sieve type thing, and then you just boil it, and it's super easy. It's very tasty. Have any of you eaten German food before?
I don't think so. Not to my knowledge.
I love German food.
Yay! Hello, Donna. Thanks for joining.
Hi. I'm sorry I couldn't be here sooner. I had another meeting.
Oh, that makes sense.
And now I'm sitting in my dark car. So I saw somebody's recording this. I'm hoping I can get the recording later.
Yeah, it will be posted on the grad school YouTube page. And then
Perfect.
it will also be shared in the newsletter on Friday too. So
Great.
I can like really quickly catch you up though. We diced the onions, and I pre-fried the bacon, but you can also just fry it in with the onions, and then just fry it up a little bit. But you can also leave out the bacon if you don't want bacon. And then we diced the bread, the 5 slices, and mixed it with the milk slightly warm and 2 eggs. And then a little bit of salt and the dried marjoram and parsley, and you just mix it up, and now it needs to sit for 10 minutes. So that's what we're waiting on, and which is perfect because now this needs to cool down before it goes into the mixture.
Okay.
Where the water is about to boil, that they're gonna go in and cook in.
Yay. Every time I've tried to make dumplings, they either are flavorless or they fall apart in the water. So I don't know what I'm doing wrong. I'm hoping I can figure it out. I've tried 3 or 4 times.
What kind of did you make potato dumplings?
Yes.
Okay. They need to be really, really, really sticky, like to the point where you think it's too sticky. Did you do that? I don't know.
I know I did that at least once.
Okay.
And I may have had the water boiling too hard. I don't know. So I've tried using mixes. I've tried making them following recipes. So
yeah.
I live in Coleman, and Coleman is a German town. So German stuff is really big here. And my husband works for Reichau, which is a German company. So we've been to Germany, and he's been 4 times. I've only been once. But everywhere we go, if there's a German restaurant, we go eat there. We went to a German restaurant for Valentine's Day, as a matter of fact. Like, that's how much we like German food.
Nice.
So
Where in Germany did you go to?
Reichau. And we flew into Munich and then drove to his company is based in Reichau. And then we spent a couple days in Hof. But we stayed in Bavaria the entire time.
Nice. I've only been to Bavaria once, but yeah, to Munich for a day trip. That's been the extent. I'm from Essen. It's near Düsseldorf, Cologne, that area. So the
Okay.
west.
Mm-hmm.
So very different up there. But
yeah.
What degree are you in?
I am in education, School of Education.
Oh, cool. Nice. We're nearly there. Another minute and a half.
Did I tell you, Sabrina, when I was in Cologne and I got a haircut, but I didn't know how to speak any German, so it was a pretty bad haircut because I couldn't actually tell them what I wanted.
That's really funny. That's I didn't know you went to Cologne. How did you like it?
We just saw some of the cathedrals and I got a bad haircut, so it was okay.
Did you go to the chocolate museum?
Mm-mm.
There is the river that's flows through Cologne. They have a boat, and it's a big boat, and it's a chocolate museum with a big massive chocolate fountain.
That's so cool.
Oof. 30 more seconds. We can probably start putting the bacon and onions in the mix. Donna, do you have a favorite German food?
Oh, that's a good question. I really like Jaeger schnitzel, and I really like dumplings, and I really like the red cabbage sauerbraten. Is that what how you? I don't know. No,
Sauerbraten?
roll. No, it's like starts with an R. Roll. I don't know. We just call it sweet and sour red cabbage at my house because I can't. German and I do not get along.
Is it with meat?
No, it's apples and red cabbage and cloves and
That's how we make our red cabbage.
yeah.
Yeah, we just call it Rotkohl,
Yes, Rotkohl.
which basically means red cabbage.
Yeah.
I love that. I usually make a big pot of it around Christmas time for our Christmas dinner.
I make it every October. Our town used to have like this 10-day Oktoberfest, which was really funny because Coleman was dry. And so like, how do you have Oktoberfest with absolutely no beer? But we did. And then they moved this.
Like the most important part.
I know, right? And then they moved the fair. And so now Oktoberfest has gotten shorter and shorter and shorter, and I can't even get there anymore. So I was just like, forget it. I'm making my own. So, that's when I make a huge pot of like fill my crock pot with red cabbage. And
that's nice. Well, now hopefully you can make the dumpling.
Yes.
Okay, so we are ready. So we have our foil on top of the foil. And I'm gonna see, I think it's all going to fit. We'll see. You might have to make a second one. But I think it will fit. So this is the fun part, which half the time, I don't know, I don't have a secret to it. Sometimes it doesn't work, but most of the time it's fine. So you just put the mixture on here. It is probably easier, especially if you haven't done it before, if you make two smaller ones rather than one big one. But you put it all in the middle, and you definitely want to have some space on the left and the right, and then obviously the top and the bottom. But yeah, you basically just roll it up into sort of a sausage shape. And make sure that you seal it off on the sides. And then I just like to do this. And you have your mixture inside. And then you wrap that up in the foil, in the aluminum foil to give it some more protection. And this is it. And now this goes into the boiling water for about 30 minutes. And you don't really want the water boiling anymore, so you just want to put it down to a very low simmer. And that's it. And then after 30 minutes, you can unwrap it and cut it into pieces.
That sounds great. Thank you for sharing.
I want to see the finished product. So can you send us pictures or something?
Yeah, I mean, we can also hang out for 30 minutes. That's fine.
Yeah, I'm gonna stop the recording though.
Yeah. Thanks.
Okay.
So now that this is boiled for 30 minutes, I hope it's cooked through. Usually it is. Just kind of want to get it out of the water. Of course, the foil is going to be very hot, so be careful. Our little bread sausage. And then it's going to be very hot, but we just want to unwrap it. So when you, I guess, before you unwrap it completely, if you just want to make sure that it's cooked, if it sort of feels firm, that's a good sign. And make sure to get all the foil off. I guess you could cut it. I personally like to just unwrap it because then I know I didn't cut off a piece of plastic and left it on there by accident. But this is what it looks like. And then I just cut it into pieces. There it is.
Yay!
Semmelknoedel. Thank you for joining, and I hope you enjoy it.